My name is Frank Chapman. I'm one of the project test pilots on the A350 program. I started in the RAF as a fighter pilot, and then did my test pilot training in France. Then I joined the test team at Farnborough, worked for the Americans for a while on one of their test programs, and then after I left the RAF I worked for an airline for a few years before joining Airbus. Well, we get involved right at the beginning of the development program, looking at the designs, the cockpit design in particular, and the way the pilots interface with the aircraft. And then once we get onto the flying phase, we obviously have to fly the aeroplane to make sure it's safe for carrying passengers and doing the job that it's designed to do. And that process takes somewhere between a year and 18 months, depending on the nature of the program. It's really the first time that we get the opportunity to look and see how the aeroplane performs when it's in the air. Obviously, when we're going through the design phase, everything's on paper, we're producing bits of hardware, but it all comes together at the end into an aeroplane which is designed to carry passengers. So that has to be tested. We have to check that it conforms with specifications, that it conforms with the rules and regulations of the authorities, the aviation authorities. And at the end of the day, they have to give their blessing, and we have to then carry passengers. So it's important that we go through this test process and make sure the aeroplane is capable of doing the job. It's absolutely essential, because we have to trust the teams at your end, and you guys have to trust us, so that we will work together to achieve the goal. And inevitably, in any development program, you're going to find little issues that you have to solve, whether it be with the engine, whether it be with the airframe, hydraulic systems, electrical systems, etc. So it's really important that we understand each other, because your engines fit on our airplanes and they work together, so we have to work together as well, and that's really the key. You see the airplane from the very early stages of design, when we're looking at how are we going to put the instruments in the cockpit, what are we going to present to the pilots, and in what way, and how are we going to keep that similar to what we've had in the past. How are the engines going to interface with the pilots? Are they going to be significantly different from what we had before? And all this comes together slowly over a period of probably 7 or 8 years. It takes that long to really get to first flight. And then finally we have the aircraft and it appears on the flight line, and that's when things get really exciting, and we start to work towards that first flight with our simulator sessions, etc. And then we go flying. So no, it's a great experience, really, the whole process. I know you guys have got the old Spitfire at Rolls, which is lovely to see flying. And I do a little bit of flying for a museum in the UK, and we have one aeroplane, the Bristol fighter, the F2B, which has the oldest flying Rolls-Royce engine. It's a Falcon 3 engine, and we fly that quite regularly still. It's still flying, so it's really nice to fly the oldest Rolls-Royce engine and one of the newest on the with the Trent XWB. So that's a real privilege.